Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please smash a like on the video and please subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about a reported Saudi club coming in for Bruno Fernandes. We'll also be talking about Jadon Sancho with another club entering the race to sign him in the January transfer window. We'll be giving you injury updates on Rasmus Hojlund and Christian Eriksen, plus loads of other stuff to get into. As always, get involved in the comment section, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. Let's start the show off with this story about Bruno Fernandes then, and I'm going to get a poll set up. So, the story that's coming out this morning is reporting that Saudi Pro League clubs are willing to offer about 100 million euros for Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes. Now, what does everybody think about this? I'm going to get a poll going. Would you sell Bruno to Saudi for 100 million euros? Everybody smash a like on the video, please. I've just set the poll up. So the question is, would you sell Bruno to Saudi for 100 million euros? That's what's being reported this morning, that apparently Saudi Pro League clubs are going to come in for Bruno Fernandes and are willing to offer as much as 100 million euros. Now, remember in the summer, they offered, I think it was 150 million pounds for Victor Osimhen. They've been spending absolutely ridiculous amounts of money, these Saudi clubs, haven't they? Let's have a quick look at what their highest outgoing is so far. Obviously we'll talk about Jadon Sancho in a minute. So the headline is that Saudi clubs are planning a double swoop for 143 million pounds midfield duo Bruno Fernandes and Jadon Sancho. Very, very interesting. Let's have a look at the most expensive transfer to Saudi Pro League so far, shall we? Who have they bought? So yeah, they bought Neymar obviously in the summer, didn't they? That was one of their biggest signings. How much did they pay for Neymar? They bought Ruben Neves, Fabinho, Malcolm. They've bought a load of players, haven't they? The Saudi Pro League club so far. They paid 90 million euros for Neymar, who is 31 years of age and injury prone. So they're clearly still throwing about the money, aren't they? But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. Do you think 100 million euros for Bruno Fernandes would be a good deal for Manchester United? Will this deal happen? I don't think so. I think Manchester United won't sell Bruno. I think he's far too important for Manchester United. I would say he's probably one of our only world-class players. Yes, maybe there were question marks about, him giving the ball away and stuff, but I think the positives of Bruno outweigh the negatives, and I think he is our best player without a shadow of a doubt, and I would say that he is the only player in our team that would be put into the world-class category. I think he's the only player that would maybe get in the Man City team. He's the only player you could see maybe go into someone like Real Madrid, to Barcelona. I think he is of that level. I think he is a world-class player, definitely, on his day anyway. Obviously, I know he has had a bit of a shaky season so far, but when you compare him to the rest of our players, his season has been far better than any of the other people in our squad, let's be honest. Like, you think that goal against Burnley, like, that won us the game. You think the goal against who was it the other week when we were away from home, Fulham, he won us the game. Like, he's won us more points than any other player in our team this season. He's got 7 goals and assists in 17 matches, so it's not bad, is it? It's like a goal or an assist every other game, which obviously isn't the kind of stats he was putting up last season and the season before. But when you think that Rashford's got 1 goal in like 15 games and no assists, like, that kind of sums it up for me. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Saf says Bruno is aging. Al says, look at Florian Wirtz. He would be the best player at United. Yeah, I really like Florian Wirtz. He's at Bayern Leverkusen, isn't he? He's a very, very good option. Sylvester says Bruno is our current Wayne Rooney. Please don't touch him. The Unlimited says Kira makes Sancho disrespected the badge and the boss. He has to go. I agree. The Unlimited also says our leader, Captain Magnifico. Miriam says we need to keep Bruno. Yeah, I think I'd be very disappointed if United sold Bruno. But the thing we have to remember is, right, obviously Jim Ratcliffe's coming in. Paul Mitchell's coming in. Apparently this John Claude Blanc guy's coming in as the CEO. We don't know what their plan's going to be, do we? Like, for the last 18 years, we've had no footballing direction. We haven't. We've had no philosophy. It's just been a big mess. But now that Jim Ratcliffe's coming in, I'm expecting him to put his stamp down and be like, this is how Manchester United are going to play. These are the kind of players we need to play this certain style of football. Like, I'm expecting to see a philosophy from this new management team of Jim Ratcliffe, Paul Mitchell and Jean-Claude Blanc, because that's the thing we've been missing. Every single time we sack a manager, we bring in a different manager with a different style of football, and then the players that we signed in the previous manager don't work with the new manager. Do you see where I'm going with this? Whereas Man City, you know that when Pep Guardiola goes, they'll find somebody who is a like-for-like replacement for Pep Guardiola. Obviously, they won't have won as many trophies as Pep Guardiola, but they'll find somebody whose play style is like almost a copy of Pep Guardiola. So they'll know that all of the players in their squad that they've invested hundreds of millions of pounds on will still work under this new system. So that's what Manchester United need to be aware of. We don't have a play style. We bring in different managers, and then they bring in players who suit their types of style of play. And then the new manager comes in, and they're like, well, I have to make the best of these players who don't suit my style of play. And I think that that's where the big issue is. The reason I say that is, does that mean that maybe Jim Ratcliffe comes in and they decide that maybe Bruno doesn't suit their style of play? I would be absolutely shocked if that happens. Fred says, will keeping him ensure us collecting trophies? I don't think so. Cash in on him and reinvest. Fair enough. Zaid says, if United are going to play possession-based football, Bruno is out. If we play counter-attacking football, then Bruno should stay. Bruno's decision-making is very much hit and run. I would agree with that, to be fair. I would. I think Bruno, like you said, in a counter-attacking team, he's one of the best in the world, genuinely. Some of his balls that he puts through over the top to Rashford and stuff last season was out of this world. But like you said, if you're trying to play really slow, pragmatic, build-up football, he's not good. He tries too many Hollywood passes. Gordon says, interesting news update. Should bids come in for Fernandes, Sancho and Varane, we should sell if younger players can be identified and all that money is received is then invested back into the team. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it, with these types of players? I mean, Sancho has to go. There's no questions about him. But you look at people like Rafael Varane, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. I think, obviously, Casemiro and Varane, there's big question marks over. They're both over 30 now. They both seem to be injury prone. I wouldn't be that upset if both of those players left, as long as it meant that we got a good transfer fee for both of them. The only one with Bruno is I think he is our best player. So unless we're going to go and get somebody like Florian Wirtz, which somebody suggested in the chat, or we're going to go and replace him with a world-class centre attacking midfielder, I would say that maybe it's not a great idea. You can't be bringing in someone like, I don't know, Andreas Pereira, like somebody of that quality. It needs to be a world-class centre attacking midfielder. Somebody of like the level of Musiala or somebody like that. I'm just having a look how much Coutinho went to Barcelona for. So he went for 135 million euros back in, that was like 5 years ago. So he was a bit younger. He was a couple of years younger. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Richie says 100 million for a player of nearly 30 would be great business. Bruno is not world class. Would he get in Man City, Real Madrid, Barca teams? Doubt it, bench at best. I think he would get in the Man City team. I think he would get in the Real Madrid team. And I think he would get in the Barca team, especially at the moment. Obviously with Kevin De Bruyne being injured, I think he'd get in that Man City team at the moment, definitely. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, maybe he wouldn't. But in my opinion, I think he is good enough to play for Man City. I think he's good enough to play for Real Madrid. Who's there? At the moment, they're playing Alvarez as a centre attacking midfielder, aren't they? And Silva. I'm just having a look at their team. Yeah, they're playing quite a weird formation at the moment, aren't they, Man City? They're playing a 3-4-2-1. I quite like that, though. Very, very attacking. Let's have a look. Richie also says we need to rebuild the team with young players full of energy. The midfield is getting old. I agree with you there. Zaid says, I never wanted Jim Ratcliffe, but I'm excited for the project from footballing terms. Just wish that this was already done and we got news of the direction we'll head. Well, we are expecting some updates on the Jim Ratcliffe purchase this week. So hopefully today, tomorrow, we'll get some big news and then we can obviously go live and we can all discuss it. Darren says, I would be sorry to see Bruno go, but is anybody in the team irreplaceable at the moment? I don't think any of them are irreplaceable, no, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say so. Yeah, I honestly don't think so. I don't think we've got any players in that team that if they left, I would be like, we're done, we're going to get relegated, I think all of them are replaceable. It's a fair point. I haven't really thought about it like that, so thank you for bringing that comment into the show. Fred says he'll probably end up like Kane at Spurs, a great player, but winning very little. Yes, I would agree with you on that. Right, let's move on to this update about Hojlund's injury. Now, this is really, really frustrating, to be honest, because Hojlund is somebody that obviously I think has hit the ground running in the Champions League. I think in the Premier League he struggled a bit, but I don't think that's really his fault. He's not really been given any service. Apparently Hojlund's going to be out until the end of November, which is pretty disappointing. So he'll miss the Everton game, he'll miss the Galatasaray game, and he'll most likely miss the Newcastle game. So 3 of our probably most important games of the season he will miss. Obviously, when I say most important, obviously every game is important, but we need to beat Galatasaray. If we lost to Everton, then lost to Galatasaray, then lost to Newcastle, I mean, who knows what will happen then? So yeah, it looks like he's going to be out until then. And Christian Eriksen is also apparently going to be out now until mid to late December. So we've lost again 2 of our kind of key players of the last 2 or 3 weeks through injury. Christian Eriksen's got a knee injury, and Rasmus Hojlund has apparently got a strain in his hamstring. So very, very frustrating. What does this mean for the next game back? I guess it will mean Anthony Martial will start up front. If it was up to me, I would start Marcus Rashford as the striker. I'd put Garnacho on the left and I'd put Pellistri on the right. That would be my preference at this point. That means you can still have Rashford play, you can have Garnacho play, and you give Pellistri some game time. In relation to the midfield, I do like Christian Eriksen, but I don't think it's a massive miss. Obviously, we've got Amrabat. We've got, obviously, Casemiro's injured, which is annoying. We've got Amrabat, McTominay, Kobe Mainoo. We've got a couple of options in that midfield. Yes, it's better to have strength and depth, but it is what it is. We've just got to get on with it. We know that this season we've had over 20 injuries in the space of 15 games, so we've just got to get on with it. Everybody's just joined in the last couple of minutes. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't already, and please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. We're only about 100 subscribers away from 21,000, so please do go and subscribe. The Unlimited says, have you got any updates about the stadium? Well, there was a story that we spoke about on the show yesterday. There's going to be no new stadium. Jim Ratcliffe plans to spend 250 million just improving Old Trafford. So we'll have to wait and see what exactly that entails. I mean, is he just going to fix the roof? Is he going to sort out the toilets? Like, I want Old Trafford to be on the level of White Hart Lane, not White Hart Lane, whatever it's called now, the London Stadium. I want Old Trafford to be on the level of the Emirates, on the level of the Etihad, To be honest, I don't want it to be on the level. I want it to be better. I want it to be like the Bernabeu. Like, if anybody's seen the renovations they've just done on the Bernabeu over in Madrid, it's absolutely unbelievable. And we need to be looking at that level of stadium now. That needs to be what we need to be aspiring to. So hopefully that Jim Ratcliffe comes in and that he has those same injuries. Al says, we have so many injuries and no depth. Who is the academy striker we can promote? I don't think there's anybody really breaking through from the reserves or the under-21s at the moment who could take that role. Do you know what's quite funny? I mean, it's not funny, but we got this new doctor in the summer who came over from Arsenal. He was the most highly regarded, sought-after doctor in kind of the Premier League. He'd been at Arsenal for, I think, like 10 years. Arsenal did incredibly well last season with injuries. He comes to Manchester United, and suddenly we've had an even worse injury season than we did last year. And I saw some people on Twitter saying Arsenal have obviously sent him over to as a kind of as like a mole or whatever to mess Manchester United up. Obviously, it was just a bit of a laugh, but I thought it was quite funny. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Darren says, I think Manchester United are out of the Champions League. They should focus on finishing as high as possible in the Premier League. Yeah. Somebody says, I feel bad for Christian Eriksen. He plays out of position. He's 100% the best centre attacking midfielder at Manchester United. He's done his best to fill the vacant number 8 role, closest in our squad to De Jong. Okay. And Sylvester says we should buy Notto from Leeds. That guy's a baller. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next story, though. Let's talk a little bit about this Jadon Sancho one. So obviously, we spoke about the Sancho to Saudi links last night. And if anybody missed it, apparently Sancho is now attracting interest from Juventus. The story this morning is that Jadon Sancho is rising up Juventus' shortlist due to his situation. First contacts have already taken place between the two clubs. Manchester United are not ruling out a loan deal. Now, I'll say this, okay? If Manchester United loan out Jadon Sancho, that's an absolute disgrace. An absolute disgrace. And the reason why I say it's a disgrace is because it's already been said by Fabrizio that Juventus won't be able to pay all of his wages. So we'd have to loan him out after paying his wages for 2 or 3 months for him to just sit on the bench and refuse to play or apologise, right? Pay him his 350 grand a week for the best part of 3 months. He waits until the January transfer window. We send him off on loan and then still apparently have to cover most of his wages. I mean, if that happens, it's an absolute disgrace. It is. Like, he needs to go. I don't even care about the transfer fee. I don't want to pay another penny to that guy after the January window opens. Like, loaning him out to me, I think loaning him out actually is a bit of an insult to Erik ten Hag, because the only reason I'd loan him out is to retain his value, right? And the only reason you'd retain his value is if you have any doubts about Erik ten Hag's future, because why would you want to retain his value? Sorry, not retain his value. Why would you want to keep him on the books if you 100% know that the manager doesn't want him? Like, what's the point in that? You need to get rid of him. You need to make sure that somebody else is paying the wages. So if we loan him to Juventus, I honestly think that's a disgrace. I do, especially that we'd have to cover apparently over half of his wages. You know, just let that sink in for a minute. He barely even got called out. The interviewer asks Erik ten Hag why he's not been picked, and he said that he didn't train very well that week. That's a completely fine answer to give. He calls him out on Twitter, and then he hasn't played football since, I think, what was it, August, September? Like, to be paying him 350 grand a week to literally just sit on the bench and play FIFA, like, I think it's a disgrace. I do, and I'll be so annoyed if we loan him out. We really, really need to get some money for him, and we really, really need to clear him off the wage bill, because just the thought of somebody being paid 350 grand a week and refusing to play football, I think it's an absolute disgrace. Yes, there might be other stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, but still, if there is, just get rid of him, push him out, and be done with it. See what else people are saying in the chat. George says, I was thinking today was going to be the Sir Jim day. Yeah, it could be. We'll have to wait and see what happens, mate. Darren says, are there any artist drawings of what Old Trafford will look like after the Sir Jim renovations? No, we'll have to wait for that. The Unlimited says, this is where Jim's got to show us how he'll run this beautiful club. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're all waiting for, isn't it? Just some reassurances from Jim Ratcliffe to let us know how things will go. Fred says, what are your thoughts regarding the Glazers not attending Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral? I'm not surprised, really. Are you surprised? Like, they don't step foot in England anymore. The only time they do was when we were in the final of the FA Cup. They flew over on a private jet, went to the game, and then flew straight back. Like, they're not gonna they're not gonna come to England, let alone Manchester, because they know how hated they are. So it's easy for us to say, oh, it's a disgrace they didn't go. But if they did, they probably would have got, you know, it would have probably turned into a riot, because there's so much hatred towards the Glazers, rightly so, that them attending his funeral probably would have been like a matter of public security, that if they'd have gone, there could have been all sorts of terrible things could have gone down, you know, because there are so many people that absolutely hate them, despise them. I remember, what's he called? Ed Woodward's house got, like, you know, people were outside like vandalizing it and stuff. Like, there's so much hatred towards those people at the top of Manchester United that it genuinely probably isn't safe for the Glazers to come into Manchester and be seen in public. I don't think so. Like, obviously, yeah, it sounds bad on the surface. Oh, they didn't come to his funeral, but I honestly think that it was a matter of public safety why they didn't come, because they are literally hated, aren't they? Ishmael says, I think fans should put up banners asking for Sancho to be sold. Yeah, I don't think that will happen, mate. But somebody says, why don't we sell Sancho before buying Anthony? Same reason they can't sell him now. Huge wages given by who? Get rid of the CEO, director of football first and foremost for their incompetence. I agree with you there, mate, 100%. Al says 245 million for the stadium renovations would only buy you a patch of the roof and some new toilets. That's it. Yeah, it's not very much, is it? Somebody says they can come for 4 players, but Bruno, we don't want their money. I would agree with you there. I think Varane, Casemiro, maybe even Anthony, Sancho. I think all of those players, if we got good amount of money for, I wouldn't even blink, to be honest. Whereas Bruno Fernandes, I genuinely do believe he is our best player at the moment. Obviously that can change. Richie says Juventus are broke, sell him, not loan, and reinvest. But I have a sneaky feeling once Ineos get in, they'll want him and sell Anthony instead. Sancho was on to something about favouritism. But that's what I'm saying to you, right? You know that I'm fully Erik ten Hag in, 100%. But we spoke about this run of fixtures that we've got coming up between now and the January transfer window. I 150% want Erik ten Hag to stay. But I have this funny feeling, this hunch, whatever you want to call it, that the next kind of 10 games are going to be absolutely terrible for Manchester United. And I do have this feeling, again, this is not what I want, but I just have this feeling that Erik ten Hag will be gone by the time the new year comes around. The reason I say that is because of the fixtures we have coming up now. We've got such a difficult run of games, right? Let's go through it really, really quickly together. Everton away, very difficult game. Galatasaray away, Never beaten them there. If we lose that game, we're out of the Champions League 100%. Then we've got Newcastle away. We never win against Newcastle away, not in recent years anyway. Then we've got Chelsea at home. Chelsea look like they're on the rise at the moment. They just drew 4-4 with Man City. We lost 3-0 to Man City. I think Chelsea will give us a good game. We could easily lose that. Bournemouth at home, that's a winnable match. So out of the next 5 fixtures, right? Out of the next 5 games, I genuinely am only confident that we'll beat Bournemouth. And that's not me being negative, that's just me being realistic. Everton away, difficult. Galatasaray away, difficult. Newcastle United away, difficult. Chelsea at home, I think a draw would be good. Obviously, a victory would be great, but I'm not, it's not a guarantee. And then Bournemouth at home, obviously, you expect to win. After that, you then play Bayern Munich. Again, very difficult. Liverpool away, very difficult. West Ham away, they're on form at the moment, very difficult. Aston Villa then, again, very, very difficult. And then the last game before January is against Nottingham Forest away. Again, very difficult. Like, genuinely, from the next 10 fixtures, right, across the Premier League and the Champions League, the only one where I'm like, we should 100% be winning this match is against Bournemouth at home. I could genuinely see us losing or drawing all the other games. And if that happens, I genuinely think that Erik ten Hag's job would be on the line. Obviously, that would then see us into the January transfer window. And maybe that's why, and like Richie said in the comment section, maybe then, Jim Ratcliffe brings in a new manager and Jadon Sancho stays. There is a world where that could potentially happen. Again, I don't want that to happen. I think that would be a massive setback. But the next 10 fixtures, they really, really worry me for Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. At the moment, the type of football we're playing, let's be honest, is not very good. We're scraping wins. We're playing very, very poor. And I think once we actually come up against some difficult sides, we lost 3-0 to Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. We lost 3-0 to Man City a couple of weeks ago. All of these games coming up are going to be of that difficulty. Galatasaray away, that's going to be very hard. Newcastle away, we lost 3-0 to them at home a couple of weeks ago. We've the last 5 games, right? The last 5 games, we've played some very easy teams. We've played like Fulham, Luton. I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but I'm just trying to give you a bit of a breakdown. We've played Brentford, Sheffield United. Like, we're going to play pretty much all of the clubs in the top 10, mostly away in the next 10 matches. The Liverpools, the Newcastles, the Chelseas, West Ham, Aston Villa, Bayern Munich. Like, it's going to be our difficult run of the whole season in this next 10 matches. And it does worry me. Let's have a look. Sylvester says we lost 3-0 to Newcastle's B team. Yes, we did. Yeah, it is concerning. And the Unlimited says, in Ten Hag we trust, we'll win them all. I don't think so, mate, but obviously it's good to stay positive. Al says we might only win 2 of the next 10 games. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, mate. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Let's read out this one quickly, actually. Darren says, you mentioned all those fixtures, but the main concern for me is where are the goals coming from? Look at the league table and the goals for and against is shocking. Mate, our defence has been shocking and we're not scoring goals. Like, that just says it all for me. That just says it all. There's not really anything else you can say on the topic, is there? Like, we're not scoring goals and we're not defending well. It's okay if you're playing against Luton because they don't attack you. But as soon as you're playing against like a Chelsea, a Liverpool, an Aston Villa, a Newcastle, a Bayern Munich, a Galatasaray, like those are all the teams we're playing. I mean, Everton away, all of these teams will attack us. And when teams attack us, we concede goals and then we struggle to score. So yeah, it is a concern. You know that Erik ten Hag is 100% the man for the job for me, but you've got to be realistic sometimes and you've got to think about what you've got to try and look in the future. Hopefully we're sat here in January, we've won every game and we're saying amazing, let's go into the January window, let's improve the squad. But yeah, it's a very difficult one. Fred says the cycle has to be broken. Mate, it does 100%. It does. The thing that makes me wonder with it all though, right, is it seems that he's fallen out with players. Obviously he's fallen out with Sancho. Has he fallen out with Varane? Has he fallen out with Casemiro? There's lots of question marks. And I just wonder whether, Jim Ratcliffe comes in and they say, this is the way it will go, okay? There's 2 ways. Either in the January transfer window, Jim Ratcliffe says, get rid of Varane, get rid of Casemiro, get rid of Sancho, get rid of all the players that the manager has fallen out with. Let's back the manager, give him 100, 200 million in the January window from player sales, and then you move forward. That's one way. Or the cheaper way is you get rid of the manager, bring in a new manager, and then you keep Varane, you keep Sancho, you keep Casemiro. And we don't know what they're thinking behind the scenes, do we? We have absolutely no idea. I personally hope they go with option A, where they get rid of all of those players that he's fallen out with, because all of those players, believe it or not, are the ones that are on 350 grand plus a week. You know, they're all overpaid and, let's be honest, underperforming at the moment. Varane and Casemiro are injury prone, and Sancho's just playing FIFA in his bedroom, refusing to kick a football for Manchester United. So for me, I would much rather, you know, Jim Ratcliffe comes in and he stands with the manager, gets rid of these players that we're led to believe that he's fallen out with, and then we move forward positively. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me on the show this morning. I will, of course, be back live at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock anyway, this evening. Please do make sure to smash a like before you go. Let's try and see 300 likes on this video. So everybody who's watching, please do like on your way out. It doesn't cost any money, and we'll hit our target immediately if we do that. So please make sure you smash the like button, and please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner, we're on the road to 21k subscribers. Let's see if we can hit that let's see if we can hit that within the next week. Big ups to everyone who's watched this morning. I will speak to you all a little bit later. Have a nice day.